3 horrifying true lockdown horror stories. True stories, by the way. Story 1.
This took place 2 years ago, and I can still recall every moment in almost perfect detail. It was nearing the end of school.
Okay.
Everyone was on their way to their last
Summer,
period,
hags.
which for me was history, a class that I not only wasn't good at, but I also disliked the teacher, and at that point I honestly had no motivation of even showing up. So, ultimately, I decided to ditch and hide out in one of the bathroom stalls located near the very back of the school. Almost no one went back there.
It's pretty scary, an empty bathroom. I mean, we always have that one bathroom where it's just far away from everything.
So I figured no one would find out anyway. I was in the furthest back stall, playing some game on my phone, when the ear-deafening sound of the principal coming over the intercom made me jump.
Lockdown, lockdown. This is an emergency alert.
Oh hell no, I couldn't already. I just know this video is actually scary. Look at that. Look at the goosebumps, y'all. Y'all see that right there.
Please follow lockdown procedures. Go into the nearest room or building. Lock the door
that's so
and
scary.
turn off all lights.
It was a lockdown announcement.
I can imagine
I honestly
it.
didn't pay it any attention, considering they were all practice.
Bro said emergency lockdown. What you mean? Like, I know school is boring, but sometimes you do have to look out for those keywords: emergency or school shooter or something like that, or school intruder.
And so I just continued to sit there in the stall and wait. But just then, all the lights to the building seemingly shut off all at once. The hum of
Oh my gosh, wait, this is actually, my imagination is taking over, bruh.
the light faded, along with the buzzing of the AC unit, which meant all the power to the school had been cut off. The bathroom had gone pitch black, and that's when I was actually starting to get worried.
Okay.
Power was never cut off during practice lockdown drills.
Yeah, this is why you gotta stay alert, y'all.
I texted my friend asking him what was going on, and
He didn't
literally
respond.
right away he answered back with a text saying, "Dude, where are you? It's a real lockdown. Everyone's asking where you are." I told him I was in the bathroom, and he responds saying I should hide. But where else could I go? I wasn't just gonna run out into the hallway to find a better spot. So ultimately, I decided to
Wait, what would y'all do in that situation though? Nah, intruder, pitch black, school. I mean, it is probably around like 12 o'clock, I would assume. That's an assumption there. But what would y'all do in this situation? Would y'all stay in the bathroom or would y'all take the risk and go outside? Honestly, this is my plan. What I would do, I think I would listen to cues if the announcer would say anything where the intruder is. That's probably your best bet, and then go accordingly. And yeah, you have to know your whole school, which you should know, because like staying in the bathroom, bro, like, oh my days, your life is literally at stake, y'all. But I would try to exit as soon as possible.
stay and hide in the stall I was in. I turned my phone's brightness down and texted my friend again. I asked him what the reason was for the lockdown.
Okay.
After
listen.
5 long minutes of waiting, he replied, saying that apparently there was a kid armed with a knife banging on classroom doors and asking to be let in.
I mean, bros with a knife, a kid. It's not that bad. At least there isn't a person with a gun, because, I mean, guns are unfair, to be honest.
Both my classroom and the bathroom I was in were on the same floor. So I turned off my phone and tried my best to see if I could hear anything.
Same floor? That doesn't mean they're close. That's just the same floor. Oh! I'm sorry, I'll have to pause it. Hold up.
There were running footsteps. And that was shortly followed by the sound of the bathroom door opening.
Oh! Oh my gosh. Oh, wait.
I was absolutely horrified at what I was hearing. Whoever entered walked towards the stall next to me, went inside, and shut the door. I held my breath for what seemed like forever.
It could be another student that's also just hiding or finding a place to hide. But, I mean, this is a life or death situation. You're not taking chances here.
Then, to break the silence, in a shaky voice, I said, "Who's in here?"
Why would you do that? Survival instincts of a fart, bro.
It was silent for a second, and then I heard a voice reply with, "I'm just looking for a place to hide. I heard there was a lockdown over the speakers." That didn't really answer my question, but the guy sounded around my age, and so I
Not
decided
bad.
to just let it go. We sat in silence for what seemed like forever, when finally we got another announcement telling all students to exit the school in an orderly fashion through the front doors.
Bro, anytime there's gonna be an intruder, I'm running my ass out of there. I don't care. I'm sorry. It's life or death, survival of the fittest. I'm not following. Hey guys, line up. Remember, be in order of your last names and line up accordingly. And we're gonna march nicely outside. Hell no. If I see like a fire or intruder, I'm getting my ass out. I don't care. My life is on the line. We only, well, by the way, it's 1 out of 7 bajillion of your life, y'all. So I'm taking this life seriously.
Where cops would be waiting outside. I exited the stall, but was surprised to see the guy next to me didn't. I asked him if he was coming.
No, don't tell me the plot twist that this guy is the guy with a knife, bro.
And he replied saying, yeah man, just give me a couple minutes.
That's the guy. Yep, he's the
That
knife.
was weird, but regardless, I left the bathroom and started heading towards the front exit of the school.
Okay.
As I was walking, my phone went off. My friend had texted me. He said that apparently a kid who was maybe a couple years older than us tried to rob a nearby gas station at knife point. The guy actually stabbed a couple people, and when he was unsuccessful in getting any money, he ran to hide in our school to blend in as one of the students. But what horrified me the most was the last sentence. My friend said that the cops outside were saying that the kid was still inside, and that he was hiding somewhere in the back of the school. Reading this changed my walk to the front doors into a full-on sprint. Right as I got outside, I would frantically inform one of the police officers of what I had experienced. And after they searched the bathroom, they found it was empty, but that the window inside was broken. The kid had broken and escaped through the window. Needless to say, for the next few school days, I had gotten a lot of unwanted attention because of what I had experienced.
Holy sh! Y'all don't realize how scary that is. Oh my gosh, bro. I'm reacting like this because I feel like y'all don't realize that. Imagine you're in that situation, right? A life or death situation. A life or death situation. Bro, no one would know and he could have just died. No one's there to help. It's you versus the killer, bro. And he has a knife. Hey, y'all, please learn some sort of self-defense class. It's worth it.
As far as I know, the kid still hasn't been caught. And it's still just difficult for me to come to terms with the fact that I was unknowingly hiding in a stall right next to the guy I was trying to hide from.
Oh my gosh, that's so terrifying. Story 2. True stories, by the way. Gosh, bro. Hey, this guy's a good storyteller.
I somewhat recently got my first real job as a teacher at a public elementary school in a nearby neighborhood. It was the first school year I was teaching, and at this point it was only September, so needless to say, I was still learning the ropes. It was honestly pretty stressful. I teach a first grade class of around 20 kids, so you can imagine how chaotic it would get at times.
Kids, first graders or just elementary school kids are pretty chaotic.
Especially with my lack of experience. I remember one day, I was in the middle of assigning the kids a worksheet for spelling simple words when the principal's voice came over the school's loudspeaker and ordered a lockdown.
Not again.
Now, being a new teacher, I wasn't yet informed of when the school had practiced lockdown drills around the year. Therefore, I had no idea if this was a drill or not.
Bro, you should know. Bro. I'm not even joking. Teachers know. I'm pretty sure teachers would get an email the day before or in the morning that there's gonna be a lockdown. Or you should know that bro says emergency lockdown. This is not a drill. Loud and clear.
Either way, I had to follow protocol. I turned off the room's lights, locked the doors and windows, and had the kids sit against the walls out of sight.
Okay.
I'd say maybe 5 minutes passed of complete silence when I could faintly start to hear doors being banged on down the hall.
I think that's normal procedure. You hear that for, okay, if it's like that and just constant like doom 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 doom. And bro, imagine you hear like the loudest knock and then it's the person behind the door says, "This is the principal. You can open up now." You're follow up with scary knocks. But then the person says, "You can open up now." Would y'all trust that? And by the way, you don't know if this is a real, you know what, let's listen to the story.
I could feel my heart start to race as the sounds got louder, as whoever was banging on the doors got closer. At this point, I still had no idea whether it was just the principal checking all the classroom locks or an actual intruder in the school.
There we go.
But my thoughts were interrupted by one of my students bursting out crying.
No,
it was too loud.
It's a first grader. I mean, to be fair, that's gonna be normal. It's pretty scary.
There's no doubt whoever was outside would have been able to hear it. I could tell. The banging outside stopped in response to the noise, shortly after followed by a single pair of footsteps walking up to the door. It was silent for a few seconds, but the silence was quickly broken by a male's voice yelling out, "Hey guys, I think there's kids in this one." And that confirmed this lockdown was real. More footsteps could be heard running up to the door, and that's when genuine attempts to break down the door were made by multiple people. At that point, not a single kid in the class wasn't crying or screaming in fear. I didn't know what to do. I was never trained for this kind of situation. And that's when 2 gunshots could be heard. But it didn't come from the intruders. Police were now inside the building. Right after the shots were fired, the intruders could be heard running down the hall.
Oof.
30 minutes later, and we were given the all clear.
Oh my gosh, bro. That was so scary, bro. Oh my gosh, if I was in that situation, I'm putting every single desk at that door. I'm piling, I'm pushing more desks at the door. Put it on top more. I'm putting everything, I'm putting the cabinets behind the door. I'm doing everything I can to block that door, and I'm jumping out of the window. I'd rather take what? A broken wrist than my life away, y'all. I'm sorry, kids. No. Oh my gosh, I wouldn't want the kids to go, though. I wouldn't know. I don't know. It's just one of those situations that whatever happens, happens. I don't want the kids to die, but I don't want to leave them behind. You know what I mean? And I don't want to like.
The intruders were 3 local high school students. They were eventually caught, but when asked why they did it, they would say close to nothing. Although, one of the kids claimed it was a bet. But personally, I don't believe that for a second.
That's so stupid. That's so retarded. It's a bet to freaking intrude a school with a weapon or whatever.
No bet is worth going to court over, and even possibly losing your freedom. I firmly believe they had much worse intentions.
Yo, there's kids in this one. Hell no. If I heard that, my heart would drop.
Although most likely traumatized, luckily no one was physically hurt. The shots that were fired by the police were claimed to have been warning shots and were aimed.
That's so nice of them. I'm not even joking. If that was the police, I would literally just shoot them like 8 times. It's so much worth to shoot a possible intruder so that you can save like 20 kids and a teacher.
Directly into the ground. It's been 2 years since this all happened, and
bro, if that happened, I'm quitting. I'm quitting.
I still teach first grade at the same school.
Good guy.
Even in the same classroom. And to this day, those bullet holes can still be seen in the school's hallway.
That's some trauma. That'll give me hella PTSD, y'all. Third story, true story. Holy snap, these are actually terrifying.
This happened back when I was in middle school. Technically, it was actually my last day in middle school.
Okay.
It was late May, and for our last day, our school would do a sort of field day where the whole school would play a bunch of games to celebrate the end of the school year.
Okay.
Now, back then, I used to be a pretty active kid. But unfortunately, due to a recent concussion, I was unable to participate in any games the whole day.
Okay.
I was pretty disappointed, yeah, though I did bring my DS and quickly opted to just sit inside one of the classrooms and play that, as, I mean, there wasn't really anything else I could do.
Okay.
None of the teachers seemed to mind, so there I was, all by myself in the classroom for my science class playing my DS.
Okay.
All the while the other kids got to play games in the school's gymnasium. It was a weird feeling being in that classroom alone. I don't really know how to explain it.
I mean, you're alone, no teachers. That is pretty unusual, I would say. That's for sure.
And up until that point, I don't think I'd ever been in a classroom completely alone.
Yeah, that should never happen.
Something that needs to be mentioned is that the teachers that weren't watching the kids in the gymnasium were in a room across the hall having meetings.
Okay.
I'd say I was playing on my DS for not even an hour when my English teacher, Miss Allen, rushed up to the classroom's door and closed it from the outside. She didn't say anything to me.
Okay, that's very unusual.
So I figured she just wanted to make sure I couldn't hear whatever the teachers were talking about across the hall. Forgetting about it, I went back to playing my DS.
Then suddenly,
A couple minutes later, the classroom's door swung open. I expected to see one of the teachers coming in to check on me.
what?
No, a man I'd never seen before walked into the room and closed the door behind him. The guy had to have at least been in his 50s, and so I just assumed it was some kid's dad. It wasn't unusual for parents to come into the school to bring a student their lunch, so I asked if he was looking for someone. He replied with no, in a tone that seemed almost offended that I would even ask that question. Before I could say anything else, the guy started walking towards me. I asked him what he was doing, and that's when he lifted up his shirt, revealing a handgun on his waistband. He followed it up by saying, "Look, kid, I'm gonna need you to come with me, or I'm gonna kill you."
I don't even know how I would react in a situation. Like, my imagination portrays that like so intensely. Like, I value my life so much, y'all. Y'all should too, but let's just listen.
I said it in the most carefree tone I had ever heard. And that, along with the fact that I'd never even seen a gun in person before, instantly overwhelmed me with pure fear.
That's fear.
Before I could fully comprehend the danger of the situation I was in, the guy firmly grabbed my wrist and started pulling me towards the classroom door. But before we got into the hallway, the deafening sound of our school's lockdown alarm started going off.
Oh no, that siren sounded terrifying for some reason, but
This was followed by the guy instantly letting go of my wrist and making a run for it down the hall and through a back exit.
What? I mean, to be fair, that's probably smarter. And instead of there's two ways the gunman to go about this: held the guy at gunpoint, which luckily he didn't, or attempt to escape and hopefully you don't get caught.
I stood there in shock for a second, but ultimately went back inside the classroom.
Lock the door?
I'm not sure how much time
You can't even lock the door, I'm pretty sure. Only teachers can.
it passed when Miss Allen came back into the room and told me that she didn't want to scare me, but that there had been an intruder inside the building and a lockdown, which now was over, had taken place. I would tell her about the man, and instantly she brought me to a police officer who was already on the premises to explain what I had experienced.
Please tell me they got the man.
It turns out the man was the whole reason the school went into lockdown in the first place. The man was reported to have been scoping out the school all morning, and when he was seen getting close to the building itself, someone would call the police, which resulted in the lockdown. The guy was later caught and would openly admit that he had been trying to scare kids into getting into his car so he could kidnap them. And this reality still horrifies me to this day. Not a day goes by where I'm not thankful for the school's alarm going off when it did.
Gosh, this is so freaking chilling scares. Actually, I mean that channel name is no joke. And yeah, there you guys have it. 3 horrifying true lockdowns. Shout out to chilling scares. Genuinely scary. Like, I'm not even joking. If you guys want to see more content like this, click this video here and let me know you want to see more content like this. If this video does well, I'll definitely do this. But this was pretty damn scary.